Lights, camera, action. Get ready for a wild ride as we delve into the latest drama surrounding the slap heard around the world. You may have thought it was over, but it's far from it. After Chris Rock spilled the beans about the infamous Will Smith slap, Marlon Wayans has taken it upon himself to roast the hell out of the feuding trio in his latest comedy special. And boy, does he go in hard. As a close friend of Tupac and Jada, Marlon knows all the dirty secrets and isn't afraid to spill the tea. But be warned, this 1-hour special is not for the faint of heart. Get ready to laugh until you cry and cringe until you can't bear it anymore. So buckle up and prepare yourself for all the juicy details you never knew you needed. Trust us, you won't want to miss a single moment. If you are new here, please subscribe to our channel now and get the latest updates. Let's start. Throughout the hour-long set, Marlon reflects on his experiences with Will, Jada, and Chris, and comes to surprising conclusions. For instance, he suggests that Will may be putting on a front and not being his true self, and that Jada may be the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. But perhaps the most interesting part of Marlon's set is when he talks about the incident that sparked the whole feud. He recalls watching Will slap Chris live on TV during the Academy Awards and how the situation escalated from there. But what really struck Marlon was how Will's demeanor changed when Jada rolled her eyes and declared the joke wasn't funny. Marlon goes as far as to call Will a phony, suggesting that he wasn't being true to himself and was putting on a facade to please others. Of course, Marlon delivers all of this with his signature wit and humor, and the audience is left in stitches throughout the entire set. But what's really interesting is how he uses the incident to reflect on his life and relationships and encourage others to do the same. By the end of the set, Marlon comes to the conclusion that God loves him and that he loves himself as well. It's a powerful and uplifting message that inspires and empowers the audience. During the set, Marlon dissects the incident from 4 different perspectives: Chris Rock, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and even the audience. But what really sets Marlon's take apart is the way he uses humor to shed light on deeper issues, such as how we relate to each other and the world around us. For instance, when talking about Will's sudden change in demeanor after Jada declared the joke wasn't funny, Marlon suggests that Jada might have put a spell on him. He even jokes that the ghost of Tupac Shakur possessed Will's body and proceeds to imitate him walking back to his seat. It's hilarious and irreverent, but it also gets at a deeper truth about how we're influenced by those around us. And despite his personal connections to the feuding trio, Marlon insists that his special is all about the truth. He claims that he spoke from a neutral perspective and with honesty, and that he handled the subject matter with compassion, empathy, and love. He even texted Will and Chris to check on them after the special aired. But what's really interesting is how Marlon uses humor as a way to reflect on the incident with enough time and perspective to gain a deeper understanding of his own personal relationships with the feuding trio. During the special, Marlon thanks Chris for roasting him as a young comic and credits Will for taking all of those movie roles that he unsuccessfully auditioned for. And in a surprising twist, he even thanks Jada for teaching him about love. It's a refreshing take on the ongoing feud, and it speaks to the power of humor to bring people together and help us gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. And while some people are wondering if Marlon is daring Chris to respond to his jokes about the slap, one thing's for sure, Marlon's special is definitely a must-watch. According to Marlon, the idea for the special came to him gradually as he reflected on the slap and its aftermath. He started with just 5 minutes of material, but as he continued to reflect on it, the material grew and grew until he had a full hour of material that he could share with his audience. And let me tell you, it's good. Marlon doesn't hold back. He brutally and honestly roasts all 3 participants: Chris Rock, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Will Smith. But it all comes from a place of love. The show, titled God Loves Me, revolves around the idea that the slap was a gift from God, rewarding Marlon for his past struggles. You see, when Marlon was younger, Chris Rock, who he affectionately calls his evil older stepbrother in stand-up comedy, heckled him so badly during a set that he stopped doing stand-up for 2 decades. But now, Marlon sees the slap as a way of pushing him to overcome his fears and reclaim his place in the world of stand-up comedy. With the ongoing drama surrounding Will Smith, Chris Rock, and the infamous slap heard around the world, it was only a matter matter of time before Marlon weighed in with his own take. And boy, did he deliver. In his latest one-hour special filmed in Atlanta, Marlon Wayans held nothing back as he took aim at Will Smith and the rest of the feuding trio. But before we dive into the juicy details, let's take a step back and talk about Marlon's recent stand-up specials. Since the pandemic hit, Marlon has been busy filming not one, not two, but 3 different stand-up specials. The first one, titled You Know What It Is, was filmed outdoors in Miami in 2021. It was a breath of fresh air during a time when many of us were stuck at home, and Marlon's hilarious take on everything from quarantine life to cancel culture had us in stitches. Next up was Marlon Wayans Presents The Headliners, which was released in 2022. This special showcased some of the best up-and-coming comedians in the game, with Marlon serving as the master of ceremonies. Marlon Wayans' latest stand-up special filmed in Atlanta has been making waves for its hilarious and no-holds-barred take on the ongoing drama between Will Smith, Chris Rock, and the infamous slap heard around the world. But what sets this special apart is how Marlon uses the incident as a launching point to delve deeper into his personal relationships with the feuding trio. Marlon also uses the special as an opportunity to reflect on his own personal relationships with the feuding trio. He talks about his crush on Jada when they first met and reflects on how Will has been able to carve out a unique niche for himself as an action star and rapper. But perhaps the most memorable part of Marlon's set is when he takes aim at Chris Rock's appearance and voice from the late 80s. He describes his skin tone as the color of violence and even imitates a stereotypical crackhead on stage. It's a hilarious take on Rock's early career, but it also speaks to deeper issues of race and identity. In fact, Marlon claims that the special is really about his own personal experiences and relationships with the feuding trio. He talks about his travels with them and how he felt personally affected by the slap, and he uses humor as a way to connect with the audience and share his own personal experiences. We're getting into some exciting stuff here, so if you're enjoying this video so far, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Throughout the special, Marlon pulls no punches in his critiques of Will's music and persona. He suggests that Will's hits, such as Parents Just Don't Understand and Gettin' Jiggy With It, only relate to the white experience, and he jokes that Will might write black, but he writes white. It's a provocative take on Will's career, but it also speaks to deeper issues of race and identity. But the real highlight of the special is when Marlon acts out various aspects of the slap, vividly portraying how the incident unfolded and how he might have reacted at the moment and later in the ceremony if it were him. He even imagines how his large, extended, funny family of Wayans would have swooped in to have his back. As a member of the Wayans family, Marlon has always been surrounded by comedy and show business, but he's also been acutely aware of the challenges that come with being a black actor in Hollywood. In particular, he laments the fact that Hollywood tends to only allow one black actor to shine at a time, and he feels that Will Smith held onto the spotlight for far too long, leaving others like Lance Gross to miss out on their chance. But despite these setbacks, Marlon is grateful for the experience. He sees the slap incident as a turning point in his career, a moment when he was forced to confront his fears and reclaim his place in the world of stand-up comedy. And by using humor to reflect on the incident and its aftermath, he's able to connect with his audience and share his own personal journey. Of course, Marlon isn't afraid to speak his mind and go for the jugular when it comes to his comedy. But there's one topic that he deliberately avoids: Pinkett Smith's alopecia. Even though he believes that comedy should be edgy and unapologetic, he draws the line when it comes to personal physical attributes. And there you have it, folks. Marlon Wayans definitely pulled no punches in his latest stand-up special, God Loves Me, where he tackled the infamous slap heard around the world. From his personal recollections of his relationships with Chris Rock, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Will Smith, to his reflections on his own career and struggles, Marlon brings an honesty and authenticity to his material that is both refreshing and entertaining. Despite his no-holds-barred approach to comedy, Marlon does draw a line when it comes to certain sensitive issues, such as Pinkett Smith's alopecia. And while he may have roasted all 3 participants in the slapping incident, it's clear that his intention is not to tear anyone down, but rather to offer his unique perspective and insights. So, what did you think of Marlon's special? Do you agree with his take on the slapping incident, or do you think he went too far? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest celebrity news and gossip. Thanks for tuning in.